Hey guys, welcome back to Sip, Spark, and Share. I'm Sarai.
And I'm Alexandra.
And today we're going to be discussing a topic that is very close to home to the both of us, and that is
anxiety.
Yes. So stick around if you want to hear all about it. All right, so let's get right into it.
Alrighty.
How did your anxiety start? Like, where did it begin for you?
My anxiety, I believe it started in my childhood.
Okay.
I think that's where it derives from, and it's just been with me ever since.
It just followed you all the way through.
It did. What about you?
So for me, I don't know I can't pinpoint where or how it started it, but I just know that I came to realize that I even had it was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So prior to that, I had no idea. I just thought it was me, and I was just a little, cuckoo.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I know now, because now knowing what it is, it just explains so much of like why was I always like nervous or like scared.
Yeah.
And mind you, I was never diagnosed. This is just me diagnosing myself because I got to really know myself, and I'm like, those things look just like anxiety.
Yeah, me too. I did a cute little Google search.
Yeah.
And I also, I was never diagnosed with anxiety, but I'm well aware that I'm an anxious person. I'm well aware that I have that little disorder. Because it just explains so much. And then kind of sometimes I know that we don't like to put labels on things, and we don't like to label ourselves, but when you do label it and you do find out, you put a name to it, it explains so much, and it actually kind of brings you peace.
Yes, you feel so much better, and you take away so much pressure.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you think that there's just something specifically wrong with you. And then you're like, okay, it's not there's something wrong with me. Is that there's a little technical issue in the factory when I got made, and this is what it is.
You just got to get a little fix. That's
exactly. And I feel like if I would have asked back then, like, hey, do you think that I have anxiety? I think that my grandmother would have just fed me like a plate of food and be like, here, sweetheart, eat some food so that you can take your worries away. Like, I don't even think back then they even had a name to it either.
Yeah, I don't think, like, if I was to ask my mom right now, like, oh, do you think I'm an anxious person? I don't think that she'd be like, what are you talking about?
Have you been able to, like, catch on when it's about to begin?
Yeah.
Have you paid attention? When when you feel it coming on, what do you do that helps you?
I take breaths. I know a lot of people say that you're supposed to do like that breathing exercise, but I actually do. So when I feel that it's already coming, I talk to myself out loud and I say, all right, Alex, relax.
Yeah.
Take it easy. And I talk to myself like that, and I talk to myself really loud. Yeah. So that I can hear myself, because it sounds funny, but I say so much stuff. There's so many voices in my head of my own voices driving me crazy.
You probably have like 1,000 personalities.
Yes, in there. So I gotta be loud, because I gotta be louder than them.
Yes.
So I like talk to myself, and it works sometimes, but the majority of the time it doesn't work.
Really? So then, so the method is like a hit or miss for you.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, this works every time I do it.
No, it doesn't work. Yeah.
Okay.
Because sometimes I wait too long. Sometimes I wait until I'm aggravated. When I'm already aggravated, my anxiety peaks up. I have to catch myself when I'm about to lose my shit. I gotta be like, whoa. Okay. Like, get it together.
Yeah. For me, what I realize it's only certain situations that get me anxious. It's not everything. It's when I feel like something's out of my control. That's the only time I've noticed that it starts like peaking. And I just want to like go run somewhere. I don't know where to, but I just want to run or scream and just get it out. So what's helping me is I haven't actually tried the breathing for the actual anxiety. I've tried breathing for other stuff. But for some reason, when I'm getting anxious, the last thing I think about is breathing. Yeah. For me, it's like you said, it was the talking out loud or just talking in my head really loudly to block everything else out. That's helped me constantly. Like just saying like the thing that I say, it's out of your control. Repeat, it's out of your control. It's out of your control. Out of your control.
Out of your control.
So every time I say that, I hear it and I'm like, it's out of my control. there's nothing that I can do that's going to change this moment. Live through it. It will pass. So out of your control, nothing's going to change. Live through it. It will pass. Repeat, 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 repeat until I feel it. And then I'll believe it. I believe it. And I'll even cry and be like, it's out of my control. It's not. Like I literally, and then it goes away. And then the breathing comes like, what a release of tension. Because I feel like anxiety is such a tension thing where your body just tenses up and you kind of freeze and you just don't know where to move from there.
That's what I was going to ask you. What does anxiety look like for you?
It feels like I'm literally freezing. Like I tense up, like I feel it in my muscles and my cheeks. So that's why I think that the breathing would help me relax. But the breathing for me only comes after the chant. So I guess it's different for everybody. But if I don't do it, then I stay stuck in that like wanting to do what I'm saying I'm going to do. And it drives me crazy because at the end, you really don't even accomplish it. So then it's like the fear of I won't complete it also kills me. So I feel like people that suffer from anxiety, you suffer twice. You suffer before it happens because you're worried that it's not going to happen the way that you want it. And then when it doesn't happen, you suffer again from the reality. And I'm in the point of my life that I'm like, I'm not suffering twice. Like I am, when I say that I am done, I'm done. Like I'm so about, you know what? If it happened, it happens. And if it doesn't go my way, I'll suffer when it actually happens. But that's so hard when all you know is to control. Or you think, right? Because there's really no such thing. You think you're controlling a situation, but in reality, you're not.
Anxiety for me, it looks like it. You can tell. Like I show it, my anxiety. Like I get very flustered. I'm very vocal about it. Like I'm very like, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. I get like very shaky because my anxiety is like, I don't know if it's because I've had it for so long and I haven't done nothing about it. Like I physically get like frozen, like you say, but I shake. So I start shaking. And a lot of people misunderstand when I'm having anxiety, they think that it's anger, but it's not. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm frustrated that I'm going through it. Like after, I get frustrated that I have anxiety because I'm like, damn, like so many people misunderstand me, but I just wish, like, I hate anxiety. I think that that's one of like the worst things out there because it's so misunderstood and it's so like,
and yet
people
it's so
just
common. It is so common nowadays.
Especially like where you live. Like New York is very fast paced. It's very like, you got to get it together. Even like my phone, when my phone is like not, like in the car, we're coming over here and I'm like looking for something and I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on?
I like that you say there's different ways that it shows up. So you're more of an outward person. You let it out and then I'm like the complete reverse. Everything comes in. So even though I'm not shaking, my mind is just going off and off and off. And it just shows up differently for everybody. But it's so important for you to recognize what's the type that you have and then how to be able to gain, I would say, get a grip on it, right? Because if you just let it run you, it's like your life is done. It's literally running your entire life. It's literally running your life. Every decision that you make are going to be poor decisions based on fear. Because anxiety comes from a fear of something. You feel some type of either insecurity or something's not, you don't feel protected. Therefore, you're constantly questioning and looking over your shoulder like, what's going to happen? And that is like the worst feeling ever. Now that we're discussing the way that it shows up, what are some signs that you would let the viewers know, like that you can immediately pinpoint, like, okay, this is anxiety if you see it?
Well, I would say anytime you see a mother, anytime you see a mother like out with the kids and let's say the kids are doing a lot, like doing too much, like let's say quote unquote being malcriado, that mother is anxious. Number one, the mother is being anxious, even if you see that she's sitting cool, calm, and collected and that she's not paying attention. Because I remember my aunt had like a beauty salon. So when the moms used to bring the kids and these kids are spinning in the chairs and they're doing all these things. And then you see like the mom, it used to aggravate my aunt because she used to be like, look at this mother. She doesn't even get up. She doesn't trust me that mother told that child 75 times before he got to that place. to sit the hell down in that cage. And then this mother's just like, she's like shut down. So I would say shutting down is a sign of anxiety. You shut down. Another one is the obvious, is the fluster.
Yes.
When somebody is very flustered and they're very like jitty, so they're like playing with their hair a lot, playing with their hands a lot.
Fidgeting. Okay. So like constant like shaking of the leg. A lot of touching of maybe like the nose, touching of the hair. Those are some signs of anxiety. Yeah. Trembling hands, like they can't keep their hands still. Those are some physical signs.
Of anxiety. And like I said, the shutting down, the withdrawal, that's like an emotional sign of the anxiety.
One would be the constant worrying of like, somebody's looking at me.
The paranoia.
They keep looking at me, or they're after me. So it goes into that paranoia. We can't even say
paranoia.
The word. Paranoia. So that's another one that's a little more physical because they're more vocal about it. And then there's also the people that are just very socially shy, like they cannot look at people in the eyes. Eye contact would be another one. So there are a few signs that definitely demonstrate that the person is anxious. But now, what can we do to help these people if we come across it? Like, is there something that you can do, you think?
I think that the help, like you, like give like a helping hand, obviously. If you see that somebody's flustered or you see somebody's overwhelmed, you do a physical touch. For me, a physical touch, it helps a lot. So like, let's say I'm like going through a lot. Like, it's normally when I'm with my kids, I'm very overstimulated and I'm very anxious. Yeah. Just because, my daughter has autism, so I'm always worried about if something is going to go down. My son, he's a lot. He's a lot. So I'm always like very like, I'm always like this. I'm never sitting down.
Okay.
So if a person was to come to me and like kind of just do like this, but like with a pressure. Yeah. It helps me a lot.
But any person, or has to be somebody?
Well, somebody that I know. Not no stranger gonna come up to me.
Well, somebody that you know and is also, I'm assuming, very close to you.
Well, no, because it can be somebody that I know, and maybe not my leg, but if they kind of like just go like this, it's just them giving me a sign that they see it, and they're also giving me a sign of like, hey, you're getting a little anxious, you're in your head. And it kind of reminds me like, oh, okay, I'm being anxious. Okay. So it kind of helps me. The physical touch helps me, right? Calm down. I don't know if it's the body temperature. I don't know what it is. But the physical touch helps me. I kind of like...
Yeah, no, you're not touching me.
And then, no, for me, it's... Well, if you know me.
No touching.
And then also, it's kind of giving me a like... You see that I'm anxious, so you're kind of like telling me, okay, Tanita, instead of telling me, because now don't tell me, oh, are you anxious? Don't tell me, because that will piss me off. So don't tell me that. Okay. So, but by you touching me, or like even like a look, you're kind of reminding me, and I'll kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I guess for everybody it's different. For me, you definitely are not touching me any way, shape, or form. Do not touch me, but the touch does help. But when I do it to myself, like I could squeeze my hands.
Yeah, I do that.
I can do like a rubbing, but not from somebody else. To me, that just creeps me out. I was like, I am anxious. Leave me the fuck alone. Like, just period. Just leave me alone. Yeah. But, and also I don't know. I like to be by myself. Like, I need to get through it on my own. Yeah. I don't even want somebody to give me an eye contact or tell me anything. Like, it doesn't do good for me. And the contrary, it makes me feel like, damn, it's so out there that I can't even hide it. Yeah. So,
well, that's your anxiety.
Yeah.
Being anxiety.
That's my anxiety acting up, and I'm just stay away. No. Don't look at me. Don't touch me. Don't nothing.
No, me.
Let me get through my emotions.
Yeah. No, me. I'm already so deep in the anxiety that I need help. I'm like basically calling out like, help me. I'm drowning here. Help me.
So then you've always lived with it. That's just been a part of you from the beginning.
I've noticed. Well, I didn't notice it obviously when I was younger, but recently, I would say in like the past 2 or 3 years. I look back at everything that I used to do in my childhood, and I'm like, oh, you was anxious. Oh, this is because I remember when I was younger, I used to go in the closet and I used to just sit in the closet. And then like I would like take a pillow and I would sit in I had 2 closets in my room, and I had one that was like my shoe closet. Yeah. And then I would sit in there, but I had like a little bench in there. Okay. But that bench was because when I would feel too overwhelmed, I would sit in the bench with no lights on and I would just like go like this to myself a lot.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, like if maybe you guys in the videos, you see me always touching myself, always playing with my hair. It's because I'm a little anxious, and that's the way that I soothe myself.
Yeah, it's soothing.
By touching myself, by fidgeting with my hair and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I've already had full-blown panic attacks.
Okay, so then yours went from anxiety to panic attack. And what was that feeling like? Can you explain to them what a panic attack is?
Well, that was horrible. My first panic attack was when I was in college. I was drinking a lot of Red Bull.
That would caffeine, guys, just so you know, wants nothing to do with anxiety.
Yeah.
Caffeine is like the worst thing.
The worst. And I drink coffee every day, and I have to drink coffee every day. But when I was in college, I was drinking my 4 or 5 cups of coffee, which is a regular for me.
Wow.
And then I was drinking Red Bull.
Yeah.
Cases and cases of Red Bull.
Just to stay up, right?
To stay up, to keep up with life, because I was working. I was,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
a
too
lot.
much for me. So I was drinking. So then one day it was, when they do finals or whatever, that they make you do all these papers. And so I would used to be a very big, well, I still am a procrastinator. And, and I was trying to do all these papers at once. And it's not like, it ain't like 2-3 pages. It's like, college is like your 10-page papers and stuff. I was pulling, it was normal for me to pull like an all-nighter, like a day or two before it was. So I was drinking my Red Bulls, drinking my coffee. And then when I got in the train, I remember going to school. I just felt like it was just like my heartbeat, and I just felt like sweating. I started sweating, and then it was like I was hearing every single thing.
Oh, you were hyper
on that
focusing.
train.
Yeah.
Every single, I would hear the ding dong, and then I would hear the people come in, and I would hear the rustling, and I heard every single thing, and then I laser focused on it, because when you're anxious, you cannot focus on anything else but what you're anxious on. Yeah. And I had a full-blown panic attack.
Wow.
Full-blown. That like the people from the train, they were like, oh my God, I remember. And I was just like, and
so
I just
felt like you were losing your breath?
My breath, yeah. And I felt like things were coming in. Like it was, I had a full-blown panic attack.
And then how long did it take for you to come out of it?
Well, it felt like it was like
it's what I hear, that it's like it feels eternal.
Yeah, but I got out the train, and then this I remember this man gave me water. And that's how you know you're anxious. That's when you know, because I drank water from a stranger. Like he gave me a water bottle. Yeah. And I drank the water bottle from him. And he just kept telling me, oh, look at me. And then he just kept kind of like, breathe. He was like, breathe. And then I breathed. And then he was like, all right, I'm out. Right? And then I was like, uh-huh. And then I was going to go to school, but then I went back and I went to Jamaica Hospital.
I'm glad that you did, though.
I did, yeah, because I never felt that before. And I was completely scared, and I was creeped out. And then I didn't tell my mom or anything because I was like, oh, I don't want to worry her. So then I went to jail, and then they told me I had an anxiety attack.
How old were you? You were in your 20s?
Yeah, I was like
so 20, that was your first. And then have you had any episodes after that?
Yeah, I had a couple of episodes. My most recent one, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I just was, I was laying in bed, and then I don't know, I just was thinking of a whole bunch of things. It actually happened, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I was just thinking about a lot of things, but then I know that when I think about a lot of things, like when I replay the week or like the month or like life,
the year.
when I replay it in my head and then I'm just so focused on it, I know that I'm being anxious. So I try to think of something else.
Yeah.
So then me, being Alex, to not focus on my anxiety, I throw on some true crime.
Oh God!
So the true crime. So the true crime, like it made it worse.
Yeah.
And then I just had like a full blown panic. But then I knew how to control myself. Like I sat up.
Yeah.
And I started breathing and stuff, and then I started stretching. Stretching helps me too.
Yes.
Especially if you stretch like your arms and stuff, because it's something here, like your chest or whatever it is. I don't know. So that's what I did, and it calmed me down a little bit. But I did have like a minor panic attack.
I never experienced a panic attack, and mine has never been to that point or extreme. Mine just has to do with, like I said, either a specific event, something's happening where like the fear of not knowing takes over. So mine has never been something steady or something that I dealt or lived with like an everyday thing. Yeah. So that's why I think it hasn't gone to that like panic mode. But I've been close like really, really close to it, but I never like reached it.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy because I'm like, I wouldn't even know what to do.
It's scary. Well, you walked me through a panic attack one day.
Yes, because what's funny is I've had my mother who's gone through panic attacks, and because I've seen it, and it's crazy. I've just been around so many people that has either one thing or the other, and just me being the observer that I am, I take things in and I learn from it.
Yeah.
So that's why I was able to walk you through it that day, because I was like, ooh, this looks very familiar. I've seen this before. I know it's gonna happen. So I always feel like you have to calm the person down.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
and you made me focus on. I don't know what I was focusing on.
You were focusing on like the negative, and I just brought you to like focus on a positive. And it kind of just evened itself out.
But it's crazy because you remember that day, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
we were fine. We were singing.
Fine. We were literally singing in the car, and then you just started on a. I don't know where like.
Yeah, I was like,
I don't know about you, but something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. And then I was like, nope. You're in your head. Take control of your life. And I just started like a quick pep motivational talk.
Yes, that's what you need.
And that's all you really needed.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if she gets to that, I already seen that it takes forever for somebody to come out of it. Like, at least it feels like forever.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's important for people to recognize the signs before you even make it to a panic attack. And this is where I highly recommend seeking a specialist in anxiety or a therapist, but don't let it go untreated because it can take over. Like,
and it just gets worse.
And it gets worse as you get older.
It does.
Well, any condition gets worse as you get older if you don't treat it, right?
And then what sucks is that, like, let's say if you have kids or something like that, it passes on.
You definitely
because it's how do you say that? It's unconscious. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're being anxious.
And it's also energy. Energy transfers over. So if you are anxious, you're going to transfer that anxiety onto your children or anything that you have.
Yeah. And let's try not to judge people.
Absolutely.
Like, people are not crazy because they have anxiety.
No, and you're definitely, you can function with it.
Yeah. But it's like people don't people shouldn't be so mean to each other. I feel like people all the time, they're always so mean. Like, oh no, this one is crazy because she has anxiety, or how can somebody say openly that they're anxious? Like, do you think that that's normal? Like, I think that if somebody is telling you that they have anxiety, even if they're joking around, like, you should actually be proud of that person, and you should be like, oh, you know what? Thank you for letting me know. Like, you know, and it would actually help a lot. So
definitely.
So yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, you don't get to decide, how you make it out of the factory, guys. Some of us make it out clean as a slate, no issues, no problems, no conditions. And other people, unfortunately, God sprinkles a little, a little specialty.
Exactly, a fairy dust.
So it's like, whether you have it or not, it's important for nowadays for people to recognize it, right? So that they know how to move forward with the people they're surrounded by. Be a little more graceful, a little bit more understanding of the different types of conditions there is. Because let's face it, nowadays, more and more people are being diagnosed with something. Whether you go physically to go get diagnosed by a professional, or whether you just recognize that you have certain things, either way, you do need to learn how to deal with them, how to live with them, and just get through it, you know? Which brings me, out of curiosity, I want to know, like, us that we grew up together and we did a lot of things, did you ever even realize or had an idea that I even had it?
I don't think that you're an anxious person, but I think that because we worked together at one point, and I think that when you was at work, I think that I saw a little bit of anxiety just because I know that I would label you in like the Sarai mode. So I know that there's different versions of Sarai.
Yes, there is.
And I know that when we're at work, I'm not Alex, no.
She's a worker.
And Sarai, we are in Sarai, we're in work mode, and there's no games played. So I kind of thought that was a little bit of anxiety kicking in. But, I didn't even know I had anxiety at that point.
Yeah, like, it's funny that you mentioned that. When we were at work, because like I was mentioning before, my anxiety is due to if I feel that something's out of my control. So when I was at work, it wasn't my anxiety. I had zero anxiety because I had full control of what I was doing. But what I did have was that perfectionism, and I wanted to have things done a certain way. So that kicked in. But outside of work, when it came to like things like maybe going on interview or things like that, things that I didn't know how it was going to go, that's where my anxiety kind of would get worked up. So it's funny that you say that.
I look at that, and when you're outside of work, I didn't think that you was an anxious person.
Because my thing is internal, and then yours is out.
Yeah.
And then for me, I would say I did not notice at all that you had anxiety.
Wow.
Because again, I didn't even know what that was.
Oh, okay.
Now, when I found out that I actually had one, that's when I was able to pinpoint yours, but it's because I had to understand mine to now see, oh, this person has what I have. You know what I mean? And it's just funny because now as I go through life learning things, I'm looking at people and I was like,
so differently.
That smells like anxiety.
Me
Ooh,
too.
You got it high. Ooh, and I can pinpoint it so fast. And it's like, do you find yourself, though, now getting annoyed at watching people have it? Because I'll be honest, it happens to me now all the time. Like, I want to save people from their anxiety.
No, what gets under my skin is if I'm telling you that you, like, if you're acting exactly how I act or, like, how I used to act, and I'm telling you that this is what it is, but then you're, like, telling me, no, that's not, and then I'll be like, okay, so then what do you think it is? Like, do you think that that's normal behavior? Like, but then you don't have, like,
it's a trigger.
It's a trigger because
I realize it's a trigger.
Yeah, because if you don't have no argument back to me, like I'm telling you something and I'm not saying it to be like, oh, you have anxiety. How dare you? Like, I mean, like if you ain't got no comeback to me, but I'm trying to help you, then what are we doing?
No, but then this is where now you got to remember, you got to give yourself your own pep talk, like, hey, they're at where I was at. I had no idea. So that's where I kind of like, it gets under my skin because I want to be like, I want to save you from the torment that I lived. But then I have to remind myself, I can't. That person has to live through it and recognize it on their own. Like now that I'm here and I know what it is and I know kind of how to maneuver it and deal with it, whoever's on the other side of me, I just want to like literally grab them. Like, sit down, please.
But let me tell you something. Sometimes, like, not that I get frustrated with people, but I get so frustrated with myself.
Yeah, because
I remember, I'm going to tell you guys a little quick story. I remember we did like a girls' trip.
Yes.
And there was a boat. I have a fear of water, like not like water, physical water, but like the ocean. And then like when it passes right here, oh Lord, I am petrified.
You are.
And my anxiety, and I don't know what you call it, but it's out of control. So I get annoyed with myself that my anxiety stops me from doing many things. When we was in our girls trip, there were so many years that I didn't want to go in the water. I didn't want to do the snorkeling. I didn't want to do the what's that called? When you're boat? No, like when you go in the rope and you're holding on.
Oh my God.
Whatever.
Because it's gonna kill me now.
Oh my God, what is it? It's not bungee jumping.
No, it's not bungee jumping. It's the
whatever.
You're killing me. See, now I gotta know what it is.
Yeah, your anxiety is kicking. Yes. So I couldn't. It stopped me from. The point is that it stopped me from doing so many things because I let my anxiety take over.
Yes.
And that's
zip lining.
There you go.
Oh my God. All right, continue.
You see?
Hey, I said I was getting better, not that I am better.
You're healing. You're not healed.
Yes.
So my anxiety has stopped me to do so much things in my life.
Yeah.
It really has stopped me. I remember when I started off my nice little jewelry business that I have.
Yes.
Shout out to Alex House of Jewels. Shameless plug. But it stopped me from doing so many things. I didn't want to do it at first. And then when there was like times to do like pop-ups and stuff, I didn't want to do them. And that frustrates me. That annoys me.
Yeah, because you see that you are the one putting a stop to it.
Yeah.
And that is so not only disappointing, but it just like breaks you because you're like, damn, I know I could do it. But I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and then it's like, I'm glad you said disappoints me because it does disappoint me. I'm like, damn, I thought I was getting better.
Exactly.
And then it's like,
and then then God puts you on a new level. Yeah. And then you're like, damn.
Like really, you're gonna let your anxiety run you? Like, so that kind of frustrates me a little bit.
And that's what frustrates me when I see it in other people. It's just that it's like, damn, I truly just wish I can like help you avoid what I already know, but I keep reminding myself, I was like, remember, you went through it, so do they.
Yeah.
So be also just, kind,
patient,
be patient, allow them to stumble, because you're also going, as you grow, you stumble on new things. And it's just part of life. You can't, I keep telling myself, you just can't save everybody.
You can't.
Just work on yourself.
Work on
so
yourself.
So that you could be an example to other people. And then hopefully they'll look at you and be like, wow, she did it. I want to do it too.
Yeah.
And that's all this is about. It's about helping yourself understand who you really are, so that you can work with it and continue.
Yeah, accept yourself. I know we always say, like, people always say that accept yourself, flaws and alls, but do accept yourself. And believe in yourself. Like, I don't understand why. I mean, I do understand.
We understand. Let's be real.
I understand. Let me rephrase. I understand that it's hard to believe in yourself sometimes, and it's hard to accept you, but you have to accept the person that you are right now. If you want to get better. There's no way for you to get better if you are in denial or if you're refusing to accept your present self. Don't live in the past. Live in the present. Don't live in the future. Live in the present.
Live here. Right now with us.
Right here.